Okay, you have got to hear this. Google just dropped a new AI tool for coding, and it is causing some serious waves in the tech world. It's called Firebase Studio, and today we're going to break down what it is, how it works, and whether it really lives up to all the hype.
Let's just start with this quote from the source material. This could replace entire development teams. Wow, that's a pretty bold claim, right? So the big question is this new AI from Google actually that revolutionary, or is this just more tech hype? Well, let's dig in and find out.
All right, first things first. What is this thing, really? And what makes it so different from all the other AI coding assistants we've been hearing about?
So, this is Firebase Studio. You might have heard of it before under its old name, Project IDX. Think of it like this. It's a full-blown software development setup, but it runs completely in your web browser. That means no installs, no complicated setup. You could literally start coding on a Chromebook. But the magic ingredient, of course, is the AI that's baked right into its core.
And this is the part you really need to get. This isn't just another version of autocomplete that suggests the next line of code. No, this AI is designed to understand your entire project. The front end, the back end, the database, all of it. It doesn't just write a little bit of code, it builds for you by actually going in and changing all the necessary files at once.
Okay, so how on earth does it actually pull this off? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the core AI features that are making all of this possible.
You know, this is a totally different way of thinking about coding. The old way, you're in the trenches, writing every single line by hand, connecting all the pieces yourself. It's painstaking. But with this new agent mode, it's more like you're the project manager. You just give a simple instruction in plain English, something like, hey, add a user login feature. And the AI, it basically acts like a really fast junior developer. It just goes off and figures out all the steps, modifies the files, and gets it done.
So a few key things are making this happen. First, you get these AI-ready templates for popular frameworks like React or Flutter to get you started. Then you have that agent mode we just talked about. But here's the really clever part, the thing that makes it more than just a code generator. There's this special file called arials.md. Think of it like a style guide or a rule book that you create for the AI. You tell it, hey, we use these libraries, we format our code this way. So it's not just spitting out generic code, it's actually learning to code the way you do, which is kind of mind-blowing.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it look like in the real world? Let's check out a demo where this AI builds an entire app from just a single sentence.
Seriously, the process is almost ridiculous. You start by picking a template. Then you write one simple sentence, like, turn this into a task management app with user authentication. And then you just let it go. And it's not just writing a few lines of code. It's actually modifying multiple files, adding components, setting up the database, the whole shebang. The real question is, how fast can it do all that?
Get this, 2 minutes. That's it, a fully working app with logins and a database, a task that would easily take a human developer days of work, done. From one sentence. Now that is where you start to see just how disruptive this technology could be.
Okay, wow, that's impressive. But come on, it can't be all sunshine and roses, right? There have to be some catches. So let's take a step back and get real. Who is this actually for? What's the real cost? And what are the downsides?
Well, it seems like for some people, this could be a total game changer. If you're a beginner, it's an amazing way to see how a real app is put together. If you're a solo developer or an entrepreneur, you can whip up prototypes and MVPs at a speed that was just impossible before. Even businesses can use it for quick internal tools. But, and this is a big but, if you're working on a huge mission-critical app where every little detail matters, or if you're part of a big team with a really specific way of doing things, you're probably going to want to stick with the manual approach, at least for now.
Okay, so the word free gets thrown around a lot with this tool. And whenever you hear free in tech, your alarm bells should start ringing, right? So what's the catch? Let's actually break down what free means in this case.
So here's the deal. The coding part, the studio environment itself, that's free to use while it's in this preview phase. But the services that your app runs on, things like the database, the authentication, the hosting, those are part of Firebase, and they have a freemium model. Now, the free tiers are actually pretty generous. You get a lot of room to play around and even launch a small app. But if your app becomes a hit and starts getting a lot of users, you're going to hit those limits, and that's when you'll have to start paying.
And there are a few other things to keep in mind. First off, this is still a preview release, which is tech speak for beta. It means things might be a little buggy and features could change. Second, while the AI code is impressive, it's not perfect. You absolutely need a human to look it over and fix things. And finally, you're building inside Google's world, their ecosystem. That's great when you're starting, but it can make it tricky if you ever decide you want to move your app over to, say, Amazon Web Services or somewhere else.
So, when you put all this together, what does it all mean? What does a tool like this signal for the future of how we make things? Let's zoom out for a second and look at the really big picture here. I think this quote really nails it. This is the beginning of a massive shift in how software gets built. It's not just about a faster way to code. This is a fundamental change in the whole process. It's about closing the gap between having an idea and actually bringing it to life. That barrier to entry that has existed for decades, it's starting to crumble.
And that's really the heart of it. For so long, if you had a brilliant idea for an app, that wasn't enough. You either had to be a skilled developer yourself, or you needed a lot of time and money to hire one. Now that's changing. And what happens when you empower millions of creative people to build their own ideas? You're probably going to see an absolute explosion of new, interesting, and innovative applications.
So I want to leave you with this thought. We're heading towards a future where building complex software could be as simple as just describing what you want in a sentence. So my question for you is, if you had that power right now, what would you create? What problem would you solve?